Rugged, intelligent, and tenacious, Cooper Dejean is everything you'd expect to see out of a Hawkeye. He was quite literally all over the field for Iowa, locking down the secondary while playing booming run support, and showing out big time when they needed him on special teams. Blending fluidity with technique, the film sells you on a prospect that should go early day one. But there are concerns over his translation to the pro level that make us take a pause. For a corner, the bread and butter is man coverage, and Cooper has shown great capabilities here. Comfortable in press man, soft press, or off coverage, he shows great understanding for leverage control and how to match the tempo of a route. His ability to mirror the receiver's movements in sync is special, and I like his ability to sink his hips quickly and change direction, even if the next part is kind of questionable. In press man at the top of your screen, he does a nice job to slow play until his man commits, then lays the punch, stalling the release and route. He continues to lean into the receiver and ruins his attempt to sell upfield, then sits on his hip as he works laterally across the field. Great positioning and strength here forces his man into an ad-libbed triple move. Cooper shows excellent movement skills to continually establish his stance opposite his man's center of mass, throwing jabs and pushes to disrupt the route. To top it off, he even managed to track the flight of the ball and goes for a diving attempt. Hey, can't do much better than that. Moving to a soft press technique, this is strong man coverage on the fade route. He's steady in his back pedal to track the receiver's intentions. Then, when he sees him step on the accelerator, opens his hips and runs stride for stride with him. NFL refs are much harsher on the face guarding than college, so he's got to get his head round more. But it's a great job to play through the late hands and break this up. Stepping back further to off coverage, and this is as good a rep as you'll see. Dejean flattens against the receiver's inside stem from his shuffle stance, then, reading the hips of his man, hits the brakes, and opens back out to the sideline in just 2 steps. Cooper then cuts under the receiver's angle, showing more perfect technique, one hand on the back and trail technique in case he misses the ball, leaping in front for the bat down. Facing the speedy Roman Wilson, he gives him more cushion but shows a good job to attach to the fade. Quick in the back pedal, Cooper makes contact at the fade point to slow his man's momentum, then gets right into his pocket to ride the route. And he even showed up in the slot occasionally. Matched up with the inside slot in the trips formation, he widens to meet the vertical stem, stepping into the route at the break and laying contact to throw off the timing. He then slides underneath the lateral movement to deny the passing window, forcing the quarterback to have to put this over the top. Able to decipher offensive concepts in a flash, Cooper fit perfectly into Iowa's heavy pattern match-based defense, able to read multiple routes at once, work out his assignment, and move to keep his leverage intact, all while his eyes stayed wide to the play. In the Cy-Hawk rivalry, Dejean is playing the deep quarter in Iowa's pattern match. He stays with the vertical route from the number 1 while keeping his eyes back to the ball, and then, seeing the quarterback release with a wide arm angle, bails out of a full sprint to break the delayed slot fade. He almost gets a pick, but 3 men collide to send this incomplete. And watch here against Michigan State. He catches him on the 45 cut and disrupts the rhythm of the route. Then, feeling him try to work inside and underneath, leaves him for his help inside and quickly gets to the back to shut off any chance on the rollout. These wide eyes and reading abilities also made him a great zone defender. Operating the deep third, he opens up with the receiver opposite him to play anything short, then gains depth when he heads cross field, keeping his eyes wide to the field, locating the crosser coming his way, and shutting that shit down. Playing the deep third at the top of your screen, Cooper does a nice job to read the quarterback through the receivers and pounce downhill. When he spies the QB winding up to hit the out route, he's immediately changing direction and working downhill, showing a great adjustment to slow his pursuit angle to meet the badly thrown ball. He spins out the collision and almost has enough to take this back, but a gang tackle holds this inside the 10. Another positive trait to see in any off-ball defender is their ability to communicate. In a league that is moving towards ever-complicated coverage schemes, this kind of confident orchestration is something scouts will love to see. Lined up on the far side of your screen, Dejean reads the crossing concept super early. Watch him call out the routes to his teammates and immediately open up and sprint to cut off the post. The QB is left with no deep options and is forced into a checkdown. And here it results in a hole on the other side of the play. But Dejean does a nice job to communicate with his safety that they're now in quarters right at the snap, and yet still be in fundamentally sound position. And there's signs of special awareness too, where the play breaks down and his football brain just takes over. Here against Ohio State, he's going to save a play on a scramble drill. He chooses to sit underneath his man in the end zone, turning his back to the quarterback in an attempt to shut off MHJ's beloved pylon route. With nothing open, Stroud extends the play and Harrison works back across the end zone. Dejean stays underneath and gets his eyes back, now able to read the play, getting up high and batting this to deny 6. And this is fantastic awareness and ball tracking skills for a game-altering play. Straddling back with his eyes inside, Cooper is lightning quick to read the overthrow, adjusting his path and running the route better than a receiver, tracking this to the back of the end zone and toe tapping to make it an NFL catch. When we usually talk about a corner being good in the run game, we usually mean they're able to play contain and blow up the occasional screen block. But Cooper is on a whole nother level. Instinctual and a hitter, he's willing and able to take on tight ends, fullbacks, and meat pullers in the hole without even blinking. Now his technique ain't always perfect, and he'll get beat for strength occasionally like any corner really. But he's got the tenacity to be a big plus in this department. On this early third down against the Badgers, Dejean is all over the play call. Seeing both tight ends pull, Cooper reads the counter left immediately, firing into the backfield and going straight through the legs of the running back. Defending the run in the red zone is difficult, and this is a high-class play by Cooper. Standing alone on the weak side edge of the trips formation, he widens with the slide, takes on the pulling guard, rips him down, and takes down the QB for a loss. Outstanding show of bravery, strength, stability, and technique. And here's a similar formation and run design, and more great block shedding. He'll widen the lead back to force the run inside. Then, feeling him overextend on the block, pulls off a beautiful spin move back inside, grabbing the runner by the legs to bring him down. His awareness isn't just limited to coverage, and his eyes were always on the lookout in the run game too. Michigan State are going to try to run a reverse his way, but his eyes are always paying attention, throwing away the fake route from the receiver and making sure to get wide of the lead blocker to send the run back inside. And here, the active brain never turns off even when the run looks stuffed, keeping contained when the runner springs free of the chaos and limiting what could have been a chunk play. Now the smarts and instincts are definitely there, but that doesn't make his game perfect. One part of the game that Cooper really struggles with is getting out of the breaks on stop routes. Going 90 or 45, he's fluid and efficient, but coming back to the ball on hitches, comebacks, and curls could leave him in peril. He seems to lack the burst off his back foot that's key to playing his beloved shuffle technique. Dejean doesn't build up his speed with short steps that gradually get longer as the route gains depth, often shuffling too fast, which has him opening up too early and exposing his hip angle. His body weight is then on the wrong foot in the transition, making it harder to break back, and he doesn't have that elite final burst to recover like many NFL DBs. Despite his reputation as a premier college corner, college quarterbacks repeatedly attack this to great success. So you know NFL QBs will be hunting his ass on this. Another fault in Cooper's game is his technique and reps against true number one wideouts. Playing a lot of pattern matching, Iowa tended to shy away from leaving their corners on true islands. And that's sometimes an indicator of how good corners really are in this department. State put him to the sword with Marvin Harrison teaching him some valuable lessons, quickly forcing the coaching staff to revert back to zone and pattern matching. And this is going to be a definite concern in the NFL, how he matches up against players with elite movement. His hip speed and hesitancy are going to make NFL route runners tricky to stay with, and there's no advantage to playing the ball and being physical if you can't stay with him. And while Dejean is a smart and instinctive player, this has contributed to a bad habit of thinking rather than reacting. And hesitancy in this game will get you killed. He always seems to be expecting more development from the play concept, which shows good awareness, but can leave quick hitters open and lead to a lack of commitment without the ball in the air. The smarts are there, but it's going to require the right coach to unlock him. An instinctual and explosive athlete, Cooper Dejean has a natural understanding for the game, but a lack of technique and hesitancy limits his effectiveness. He understands what offenses are trying to do, and when he lets his body just react, he can make game-breaking plays. Combine this with explosion on special teams, and you've got a potential 4-down player. He's ideally suited as a trap corner in a too-high coverage system, where he could utilize his instincts in tight spaces and keep his eyes on the ball. Eventually, he might move to a full-time slot role, but this two-way experience has been too limited to gauge his ability here. From all the noise around this young man's name, expect to hear it called on day one.